Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the head coach of the Fighting Irish, Brian Kelly. How are you? Well, we are 2 games into that 6-game second part of the schedule you mentioned. You've got 2 wins, and your team seems to be taking positive steps each week.
Yeah, it's been obviously one of those things where we've had to rely on our defense against USC. They played tremendous in the second half, where we weren't able to do enough offensively, but certainly it's a team sport, and our defense just played tremendous in the second half to seal the victory. And then against Air Force, offensively, Tommy Reese was outstanding, and we put up a lot of points, played very opportunistic defensively, and held an option team, Air Force, to a low output relative to points because they're difficult to defend. So back-to-back weeks, a great performance defensively, explosive on offense. Now let's put that together against Navy on both sides of the ball.
And again, for the second straight week, you're taking on a triple option attack, but you're really taking on the best of all the triple options attacks in Navy.
We think so, and extremely well coached, certainly experienced at running the triple option as well as anybody in the country. And it's just the attention to detail that you would expect Navy and the Academy and their players to have when it comes to their execution is just flawless. So we have to have an incredibly detailed and prepared football team to combat that. And offensively, we have to be able to put points on the board because certainly they will score. And we've seen their wins against Indiana, and we've seen a great win this past week against Pittsburgh, a team that took us into overtime. So it should be a great matchup, one that we've played for 87 consecutive years. So we have a great deal of respect for the Academy and the Naval Academy, and in a game that should be fun tomorrow afternoon.
As you know, because you're asked a lot of questions about it, and it's not something that you necessarily drive, but the schedule for Notre Dame gets a lot of attention, especially with the new agreement with the ACC, and Navy is one of the games that is protected. It's a special series for this school. You've been on the sidelines now for 4 of them. Just describe for me what those games are like.
Well, when we're talking about college football, it doesn't get any better than this because on both sidelines, you have the best and the brightest, the most disciplined football players, and you have such a passion when you talk about the University of Notre Dame, and when we're talking about our young men that are representing the armed forces. So there's such passion, and college football is better when these games are played. So we just think that this is a great matchup, one that we'll always want to protect here at the University of Notre Dame.
I mean, every coach builds a legacy throughout his career, and one of your legacies is your teams rarely lose in November and beyond. That means they're getting better throughout the season. What are the steps that you are hoping to see your team take in this month?
Well, I think anytime you get into November, you have to count on the depth of your football team because you're going to get injured. In this game of football, there's a lot of collisions. Guys are going to get hurt, and we're going to have to rely on that next man in mantra, which has been so successful for us. So I think, first of all, November has been good to us because we prepared the depth of our football team to come in and play. And you're going to see that on display on Saturday. A lot of names that you haven't heard earlier in the season are going to have to come up big for us on Saturday. I think the other thing is it's a year-round preparation that puts your football team peaking in November, not having really tailed off in November, but feeling good about themselves physically, mentally, the way you practice and prepare so you don't get your team fatigued and worn out. And then I think finally, you always have to be in the hunt in November. You've got to put yourself in position. We put ourselves in position. We have no room for error. And so our guys now understand that in November it's crucial for us to win every game we play.
And it was important last week not just to win, but you don't have the luxury of getting a lot of guys into games in September like many schools do because of the level of competition. You were able to get 60 guys into the Air Force game. How important was that for some of the guys who have earned the right to play but haven't had a chance to play much before?
Well, first of all, it takes some of your frontline guys out of the action, which gives them a needed break because they've played so many snaps during the year. And secondly, those are the young men that are going to have to play some snaps tomorrow, excuse me. And so it gives them some confidence that they can go in there and it won't be their first snap Again, playing Navy, those guys now have seen the option 2 weeks in a row. It's going to help them in their execution on defense. And from an offensive perspective, when you catch a touchdown, a freshman like Will Fuller or Corey Robinson, it gives them confidence to go out there and do it again. So all of those things are definite positives from last week.
Now, clearly, playing two-option teams in a row is somewhat of an advantage, but I thought you made a great point at your press conference this week. Navy runs it so well. They have the ability to really change what they do from week to week. So it's a triple option, but it might be something you haven't seen from them this year.
We'll have to be prepared for anything, and certainly they know more about the option than we do, and so they'll make some subtle changes. We'll have to make some adjustments. The great thing about our guys is that we can make those adjustments on the sideline. We've got great communication with our coaches and our players. They can come to the sideline, tell us what's going on, and we can make some tweaks along the way if we need to. So I think that's obviously very important when you're playing an option team, that you make some adjustments, because there's going to be some things that we're going to have to tweak along the way.
I don't want to wrap this up in front of this loyal audience without talking a little bit about a guy who probably has gotten more heat this season than you, your quarterback, Tommy Rees, who played a nearly perfect football game against Air Force.
Yes, again, what we love about Tommy is that we get everything out of him, and he perseveres. He goes through good times and bad. And when you talk about one of the most popular guys in the locker room, it's Tommy Rees. He's got 20 touchdown passes to 6 interceptions. He's 20-6 as a starter. And we get everything out of him. He comes ready to play each and every week. Sometimes it's not the glamour and the spotlight that shines the brightest, but it's about the character. And he's got great character. Our players love him. The coaches love him. And he represents Notre Dame the way we want him. He goes out there and he's fighting Irish all the time.
I'm guessing that that's one of the Blue Angels running over the stadium again. I know you've got so many things going through your head, but when you see the Air Force or the Navy fly over that stadium before a game, what does it do for you? I mean, can you sense that and take that in?
It's interesting you bring that up, because I had never seen the flyovers or the national anthem until last year, Senior Day, where you come out early. And I came out early for Senior Day, and I got a chance to see the flyover at Notre Dame Stadium. And people ask all the time, what's one of the great memories? What is it about Notre Dame running out of the tunnel? And the first time I ran out of the tunnel, it was, it's something that you will remember. You'll never forget it. But I'll never forget that first flyover at Notre Dame Stadium. So make sure you see it tomorrow, because you'll never forget it. It'll be awesome.
All right, keys to the game tomorrow.
Well, for us, obviously, the option offense and being able to minimize the big plays. You got to get off the field, so third down is crucial. Offensively, we have to be able to score on our possessions. We can't have a lot of 3-and-outs, because we're not going to get a ton of them, because the clock ticks when you play against an option team. They eat up a lot of time. So scoring on our possessions, getting off the field on third down, and certainly being prepared for making adjustments in game.
If you'd like to see Coach again, he'll be at the Compton Family Ice Arena tonight. Pep rally begins at 5:45, and he'll also show you some of his judging skills as the students have that Halloween costume contest we told you about. Coach, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you, Jack.
Irish head coach Brian Kelly.